So it's all taken care of only because of me and my keenly intelligent brain that's able to use deductive reasoning, that's able to foresee the potential for disaster, okay? It's not necessarily that this asswipe conservator was going to steal all my mom's money, but he could. And remember, her crazy third husband, his conservator stole all the money. And I said, Mom, how did that happen? Well, because he was mentally ill. Yeah, and you have me, and that's what these assholes aren't banking on. Because I don't trust anybody or anything, you know what I mean? And the fact is, it's been dismissed for a fucking week. He has no more legal right over anything than any of you do over my mother. Yet he didn't change the address. Everything's still going. We went to the post office and nipped that in the bud. But how come he hasn't done it, huh? Tell me. It's been a week. My mom couldn't have done this on her own. Auntie's just like, oh, call him. No, Mom, don't give him a heads up. We need to keep that money safe. Okay? Because just because he has no legal right, well, you know, people do illegal things all the time. He could go in waving paperwork that the bank doesn't know it's revoked and access a shitload of my mother's money. Well, not anymore. Not anymore, baby. Not anymore. Thanks to me, not thanks to Auntie. Auntie's like, well, just call him, Mom. Why do you want to call him and give him a heads up that you know that he knows about the account you opened up, the secret account from him? Okay? Why do you want to give him a heads up? No, we need to do something to rectify the situation before he even is aware of anything. And with my help, we did it. I'm not going to give you the details. I'll tell you that we've changed the fucking address of the post office. We have every right. The case is dismissed. Do you understand? He has no legal right whatsoever. But people do illegal things all the time, okay? My mom has me. Anyway, so I was at the store after we got all this taken care of. Again, my mom wouldn't have been able to do this on her own. And I explained the situation, and I'm like, you know, if he tries, let me know, you know, if he tries to access the money or whatnot. Who knows what he can be up to. I'm not saying he's up to anything. I'm saying you have to be able to think, because people are, you know, why doesn't he return our calls? Why did that lawyer say, oh, he's to be trusted? Meanwhile, he has $12,000 of my mom's money, okay? Do you think he earned $12,000? He didn't pay a single bill. Maybe it's not, he has to pay the lawyer or court fees. I don't know. All I know is that we wanted to make sure, damn sure, that he can't access the large amount of money. And Auntie should have just kept it. She shouldn't. I said, why does she hand it over? She washes her hands of it, Laura. Yeah, but I didn't realize, see, she had a post office box, okay? You can't forward mail from a post office box, just so you understand this. This shuts off on a screen, okay? It shouldn't shut off, okay? This, simple. You can't forward mail from a post office box. You can't do it. So when he forwarded, remember, they've been pissed all along that Auntie had that money and they couldn't access it. They wanted to be able to access my mom's whole share of the huge settlement amount. They couldn't do it this whole time, right? So Auntie had a post office box. Well, you can't forward mail from a post office box. So this is what happened. He put in a change of address, as you guys know, because I was out here bitching about it, saying I thought he put it in for the whole thing, but he didn't wind up getting my mail because he couldn't legally do that, right? He put in a change of address to change my mom's address to his address. Simply, had every legal right to do it. But little did he know, there was already a forwarding going on from my mom's address to Auntie's post office box, and lo and behold, you can't forward from a post office box, so we were protected. Well, that must have run out within like 6 months. The only thing I can think of, suddenly Auntie's saying she's not getting the bills. My mom doesn't communicate with me. I'm like, Mom, and Auntie doesn't want to talk to me, you know, so Mom, how is he suddenly getting the bills? He wasn't getting them all this time. Well, that's the piece of the puzzle. Whatever was temporary going to Auntie's post office box ended. Now suddenly he's getting all the bills. He finds out about the secret bank account, and that was all she wrote. He changed the address of the secret bank account for all those statements to go to him. And even though, like my mom said, you know, from the mouth of babes, he's like he probably didn't expect us to win. I know. I didn't expect us to win, but we did win, okay? And he's not but Auntie knew that he was still getting the bills, but she washes her hands of it, and what did she do? The money was safe. Nobody could ever touch it once she had it, but putting it into my mom's account that he knows about, he could go and wave in that paperwork, the same paperwork he used to change the address, and he could steal a hell of a lot of money. Not anymore. Not anymore. And if he's watching this, fuck you, baby. You weren't banking on me. You weren't fucking banking on me and my keenly intelligent brain. So I was talking to Joe at the grocery store, and Joe believes the same thing I believe, but I said, yeah, but 20 years ago when we met, you didn't believe it. You were a Jehovah's Witness. You know, I was believing this stuff 20 years ago, you know, and now you've far surpassed me, but that's because you spent a lot of time reading David Icke and Zach. I mean, you spend your life when you're not working full-time just studying all this stuff, okay? Joe 100% believes what I 100% believe, that there are certain, first of all, you do not commit suicide, period. You don't know why you're here, okay? You don't know, so you don't do it, period. And I said, yeah, well, Kurt Cobain was a creative genius. He committed suicide. I think Joe doesn't even believe that Kurt Cobain committed suicide, but regardless. And, you know, and I told him about he's the one who likes all that pretty songs, blah, 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 whatever, you know? Because I called Joe to ask if he often, I mean, Joe, do you feel like you're in the twilight zone a lot of times? Like, he's like, yeah. He's like, most people just are zombie, just down, you can't even talk to them about anything, and, you know, and that even includes a lot of people with high college degrees or whatever. They don't have a fucking clue, okay? Joe believes the same frickin' thing I do, people. We are infinite consciousness sharing a human experience. Reincarnation is the truth of existence. We don't die, and and Joe feels about himself that, I said, okay, but do you wonder why we're here just overall? And he's like, I know why I'm here. I'm here to raise the vibrational level of the planet. And that's it. Okay? And I talked about how, you know, you and I are still, I wouldn't know a lot that I know. I mean, I know I wouldn't be a friggin' zombie sheeple buying every fucking thing spewed forth from the corporate controlled news media, but regardless, I wouldn't know a lot that I know if I were not for Joe. And I'm like, I wonder why we're in each other's lives all this 20 years later. He's like, because it was meant to be, Laura. But it wasn't meant to be for us to be together as boyfriend, girlfriend, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, what about Donald? He tricked me, Joe, and I wasted 7 years, 8 months. I mean, I wasted all those years with him. He goes, Laura, you can't think of it as wasting your life. It's just a drop in the bucket for infinite consciousness. All right, I get it, Joe. So you gotta forget about that. And then I'm like, you know what, Joe, I learned from that experience with Donald. I stayed with him out of fear of being alone, but I felt alone with him. And in the end, I nearly lost my life with him. But I said, you know, he listens to Alex Jones and stuff. So he does have some kind of, you know, more advanced brain, like, say, than compared to my mom or all her friends, whatever. You know what I mean? But Donald just has bad in him, you know? And I'm like, Joe, it's really, really hard. I can't talk to my mom about anything. We're talking even the most basic things, let alone the big shit. He's like, Laura, you know, not everybody's here to whatever. You just have to. And then I told him about Rob Thomas's Someday, because he was saying, you know, you have your higher soul knows your purpose, Laura. You just can't, you don't question it. You just do. And then I told him what he was saying, you know, because your mind is going to break that, and then. And I said, yeah, that's just like, have you ever heard Rob Thomas's Someday? Listen to it. He said, no, he hasn't. I said, he has a line in it, you know, when your mind breaks the spirit of your soul. And I said, yeah, that's when, if you think your mind's breaking the spirit of your soul, like, for instance, when I think about leaping on the third rail at the train station, or take your pick of any number of things. But meanwhile, your higher soul knows the truth. And there are certain souls that have been around longer that are here to raise the vibrational level of the planet, and that's it. So, that's what Joe believes. And I'm like, I was believing this 20 years ago when I met you, and you were Jehovah's Witnesses. You weren't even remotely believing that. He's like, I know, everyone is on their own path, Laura. But when I was believing it without knowing anything going on behind the scenes in the world, you know what I mean? So now, knowing everything that I know, back then I was just believing it on a very basic level in my heart, just believing it on a very basic level. But now, after studying told you, I've read over 500 over the last year and a half John Rappaport articles. I've read tons of natural news articles, not all of them, because they come there's like 7 of them in each thing, you know. But yeah, Joe and I have been in each other's lives. Think about it, for all these fucking years. We're talking, oh my God, over 20 years ago, people. So there's some reason for that. But we weren't meant to be together. Like, I thought he was, you know, he wasn't my soulmate. Donald certainly wasn't my soulmate. Donald was, you know, I got caught up in his ego. I mean, him being the first person to believe in me, so he fed my ego. And in the end, he had something seriously wrong with him. You know, he might have been smart on like a reptilian level or whatever, but he was conniving and he did not have the higher spirit that I have. And probably he realized that within himself and saw the difference in us, and that's why he wanted to destroy me. Just like I said in one of my videos, you know, Donald forgot Alicia's doll's magic. He forgot her magic, you know. No, he didn't forget. He couldn't stand it because he knew he didn't have any of it in him. He wanted to crush it. That's all. He tricked me. But like Joe says, I said to you, Joe's wise, he's brilliant, he's whatever. Yeah, Laura, but you could say, okay, well, you wasted 7 years, 8 months of your life with him, and ultimately another 2.5, but that's another story. You weren't with him anymore. But that's a drop in the bucket. If we're just infinite consciousness sharing a human experience, what's that years? What does it matter? So like Joe says, he talks about stuff with people. And when he says about the Christians, he's like, well, they're just focused on this thing where I'm going to go to heaven. And he's like, well, they're so focused on going to heaven, it means they're rejecting the world. I mean, if God created this whole world, then you're so focused on going to heaven, then you're rejecting God's creation. That's what Joe says to me. I didn't come up with this on my own. I just had a nice conversation with Joe at the grocery store. We were doing some grocery shopping after I managed to foil whatever evil, devious plans the conservative may or may not have had. I'm not saying he did, but if a bank sits there and says to me, well, you know, only you and your mom are on this account, nobody else could access it, I'm like, okay, but he can come in and use the same paperwork he used to change the address to steal, and, you know, yeah, he could. They're not going to investigate. He's a lawyer. He'd just be like, this is my paperwork, blah, 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 I'm her conservator. And, yeah, he's breaking the law, but lots of people break the law and get away with it because no one's going to question anything. It's too late, and he's run off to, you know. I'm not saying that he was going to do that. I can't prove it, but now I've made sure he can't. Me alone, my mom couldn't have done it, and Auntie wasn't going to help. Auntie's like, just call him. Oh, what's good that's going to do? I've called him. He doesn't return the calls. Why call him and give him a heads up? By the way, we know you know about the bank account that, you know, and you're saying, well, why didn't he close it out or try to do whatever when he was the conservator? Could it be because he was going to wait and see if Auntie turned over that money or something? Who knows? Who knows what his devious plan was? I don't know if he has any devious plan. I just know I didn't like it. And when the bank's trying to say, well, you know, nobody can access this but you or your mom, yeah, but you can have some brand new teller, even if you flag it. I mean, we can market, Laura, you know, we can market that if somebody comes in, yeah, but if you have a brand new teller, nowadays people are so dumbed down or whatever, they're not going to pay attention, and he comes in all high and mighty lawyer-like and just says, look, this is, and we're talking a lot of money here. I mean, we're not talking rock star riches, but for me and my mom, you know, we don't want to turn around and have that money gone. It's a significant amount, okay? It's a significant amount. I wanted it to be safe. The only way it would be safe is if it can be somewhere where he can't get at it, okay? And it would be illegal, mind you, but people do illegal things all the time. And look at when Auntie, I told you months ago, when Auntie waved around that power of attorney was revoked, she waved it around and they listened to her and believed she was the power of attorney and let her change the address of my mom's secret bank account. So he could do the same thing, only now we're dealing with a shitload of money, see? Auntie was going to get away with the same thing, to access my mom's secret bank account, and they changed the address and then she was just going to get that money, see? So if she could do it, then he certainly could do it with a hell of a lot more money. And I've nipped it in the fucking bud. And if you're watching this, fuck you, baby. Fuck you. You think you're dealing with my mentally ill mother. You don't know how fucking smart I am. I can predict what people might do, the potentialities of life. I can predict it all. And the fact of the matter is, when they're going to try to convince me, you know, only you and your mom, see, they're looking at the smaller picture. You and they, just like they had told me at her bank, don't worry, nobody can access this money. When she opened it up, only the account holder. No. Auntie waved around the revoked power of attorney and was able to access the account easily. Okay? He could do the same thing with the revoked, dismissed conservatorship. He could do the same fucking thing, steal her money, and then what recourse does she have? Then we've got to go through all this shit of trying to get it back and legal and whatnot. You know, well, I nipped that in the goddamn fucking bud, didn't I? And I went out even though I wasn't supposed to be walking. We did it all. We got it. We fixed it. We fixed it, and he can go fuck himself up the ass. He doesn't return our calls. He has no legal right to anything anymore. But that doesn't stop crooks, okay? It doesn't stop crooks. It's bad enough he has $12,000, okay? $12,000 fucking dollars of my mom's money. He didn't pay a single bill. He paid the lawyer $2,000, so he has $10,000 of my mom's money. I am the sole reason. Auntie didn't care. Auntie says, call him. Auntie could have said, Auntie had the car. Let's go and fix this, Samantha. No. It says, call him. Oh, yeah, let's give him a heads up. We know you know about this bank account that Auntie put all this money in, and, you know, and you're probably going to figure out some way of stealing it maybe, and blah, 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 blah. Let's give him a heads up. No. I nipped it in the fucking bud. It's done. Went to the same goddamn post office who's been dealing with me for months, you know, with everything, and, yeah. This needs to be fixed immediately. Here's the paperwork. We have the official paperwork. The case is dismissed. He's no longer the conservator, okay? But people do illegal things all the time. When it comes to money, this world is just bows down to money. People are just go mad, you know? Yeah, well, they went in the house anyway. You want to watch Magic Mike?
Yeah.
Alright, let's watch Magic Mike. I'm not cooking. Oh, wait a minute. Is the salmon thaw out?
I don't know.
Well, it's not thawed out. We can have a salmon too. I don't feel like having the salmon.
Huh?
I don't feel like having the salmon. I'm probably just going to have some chips and cottage cheese, those bean needle things I bought. Okay? I don't want any fish or any cooking or anything. Let's just watch Magic Mike. Okay? I don't know right now. Can you leave me alone for a second, please? Can you just leave me alone, please? I was talking to Joe in the store, and I'm like, I love talking to you because I can talk to you, you know? You get it. You get what's going on here. Whereas most people don't. And he's like, and I'm like, but I'm in the grocery store talking to you. My mom's getting antsy. I gotta do whatever. He's like, well, you can call me when you get home. I'm like, no, I actually can't. I promise I'll email him. I promised my mom we'd watch Magic Mike, you know? I'm still in this reality, Joe. I can't just spend my life talking to you. I talked to you briefly, and I would like to talk to you again, but, you know, not tonight. Of course, there's no reason to fear death because there is no death. Okay? Because that's what I've seen at Joe. I'm like, well, people like us who speak out and do this or that, you know, look at John Lennon, he got assassinated. I don't know. Like I said, Joe knows a hell of a lot more than I know. I know enough, though. Only because I'm open to it. That's all. I'm open to it. But regardless, that's the way it goes. And in this reality, I single-handedly, because Auntie wasn't going to give a fuck, go call him. Yeah, let's give him a heads up. We know you know about the secret bank account. Let's give you a heads up so you could potentially steal the money. And then be like, oh, well, and then we have to, no. He wasn't banking on me, because nobody does, People just label me. They think I'm crazy or I'm just her mentally ill daughter, and they have not a fucking clue how smart I am. And remember, he met me in court, too. So he saw the little blonde face and little blonde hair and the little blonde body, and he probably just thinks I'm an idiot. I imagine. He wasn't banking on me, though. I single-handedly just made sure. I'm not saying he was definitely going to do anything. I can't prove anything. I'm saying potentially. And that's called thinking, because there's always potentials that will happen in this life. If you're not aware of them, if you can't think that way, it's better to be safe than sorry. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to go watch Magic Mike.